Welcome to your best self. I'm Dr. Steven Davidowitz. My patients call me Dr. D.
And I'm Emmy Award winning journalist Stephanie Simon, and we're so excited to bring you the guests and expert tips on today's show.
Yes, and as always, we're going to have a mix of fun and entertaining subjects, health news and product tips, and of course, just general mental health help for you to live your very best life.
So let's get started with something super fun. It's the busiest time of year on Broadway, and not only are the fans making their Broadway dreams come true, coming to Times Square from near and far, but many performers are as well.
Which brings us to our very first guest. Everyone by now knows the Broadway phenomenon, Hamilton. Jennie Harney Fleming was the rotating cover for all three Schuyler sisters for the past 4 years and is now finally getting her moment to take on Angelica Schuyler as her own.
And Jennie joins us now to talk about her incredible path to playing one of the Schuyler sisters in Hamilton on Broadway, being a working mom, and all things New York City. Jennie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jennie, you had a very unusual but amazing job. You were a full-time Schuyler sister fill-in all across the country. How did
Yes.
you make that work?
Touring is not easy. And there were a lot of companies back in 2017 when I joined. I think starting then there were 3 companies, and then they grew to 4, and now it's 5 companies just in the US alone. And my job was to hop in and go to any of those companies to fill in or just be that insurance, that extra buffer for one of those 3 Schuyler sisters. And I did that for 2 years, and it was very hard. You kind of live your life with your suitcase packed and in the closet, because any morning somebody could call you and need you on a flight that afternoon, and you go out there and you get accustomed to that cast very quickly, and you learn their nuances and you learn their version of the show on their set changes and things that don't exist in any other company. So it keeps you on your toes, and one of the advantages is you get to see the different roles played from so many different perspectives that it really makes you feel limitless in your own approach to the material, which is exciting but also exhausting.
It sounds like it, but all of that hard work paid off, and you were offered the full time role of Angelica Schuyler in Hamilton on Broadway. How has that
Yes,
been?
it has really been amazing. I think each role within the Broadway circuit has its own challenges and difficulties and advantages. It's a blessing to be able to be responsible for only one group of material or one person's role a night. And you don't have to hold on to how all those other puzzle pieces work together in the same way. Um, but it requires you to learn a different maintenance for yourself, a different, lifestyle shift in terms of how consistently you have to be on, and what it is to be full out on stage 8 shows a week, and how that differs from having the opportunity to rest, but then having to do, an obstacle course every time you go on in your brain. You know what I mean?
During the pandemic, you had two beautiful babies with your very talented husband, Dewitt Fleming, who is also a performer. So much joy.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But
Yeah. I had, 2 pandemic babies.
as the pandemic and working so hard as you did to get where you are, and your husband is working as well, how do you guys keep yourself centered? And do you have any advice for parents going through similar experiences?
I think it's multiple fold. Um, one one thing being, you have to ask for help, and you have to um, ask for more help than you need sometimes. And you can't, this trope of being the super mom or super parents, you gotta kind of gotta start to let that go a little bit. Give yourself some grace and realize that these things don't happen by themselves. You can't do it all. You may want to, but you have to drastically reset your expectations of yourself on a day-to-day basis. Some days you'll be able to get, 3 or 4 things off of the to-do list done. Some days you'll get zero, and if you've managed to be present with your children that day, if you've managed to give your 100% to your job that day, even if you've only got 40%, you give 100% of that 40%, you're doing a great job, you know. So you really got to give yourself grace. But you also have to learn, this is something that me and my therapist have been talking about, embracing the good and the bad. And sometimes we shun away from the bad. I know I have the tendency to do that. But me learning how to just embrace the fact that everything is not going to be roses and that's okay, you know, and not feeling guilty about that. That's really been the key to helping me get through these moments.
Great advice. Jennie, you're born and raised in Brooklyn. You attended LaGuardia Performing Arts High School. Your dad, Ben Harney, won the Tony Award for his star role in Dreamgirls 40 years ago. Through
Yes.
all of this, though, what have you learned about showbiz, but also just making it in life? What are some of the keys to success beyond what you've already told us?
Something that my mother has always said to me is, wherever you go, there you are. And it took a couple of years for me to figure out what that means. And the reality is that no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what rooms you're in, it all has to do with where you are internally, inside of yourself. If you're not in a place of positivity or being able to think through things, or a place of growth or great place of development and grace, and being able to have a perspective to view the world in a way that you are thinking positively towards your environment and the people around you and all those wonderful things, those building blocks, it takes a lot to be able to work through your stuff. But you can be in the biggest rooms in the world. The bottom line is you got to deal with you at the end of the day. So that's the work that really matters, despite wherever your surroundings are, your environment is. If you are doing the work inside of you, whether you're home, whether you're on the train, whether you're on the bus, whether you're in a cab, whether you're, you know, at the Tony Awards, whether you're, you know, in the backyard of your grandmother's house, it doesn't matter where you are. You're doing the work that's really important inside of you. So wherever you go, there you are.
Amazing.
Jennie, it was really amazing having you here on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And don't go away. We will be right back.